in the snow. From Vancouver to Toronto, people want to know. At the first glance, if by any chance the way we sing and dance, we wouldn't come from France, we answer no. Oh no, 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 we're not Frenchmen, we're not Germans, we're not Russians, we're not Polish, we're not English, Indians, Negroes, we're not even Eskimos, we're not Cajuns, though we're raging, all we want is a good living. We're your neighbors from Quebec, des Tata pis des Beaubec. French is fun, French is money, that's all we're trying to say. Why don't you join the party? Alouette, je t'y plumerai.
Why Québec? Parce que c'est notre pays, Chris. It's our country, tu comprends? Because Quebec is our life, and if you want to change something, you start by changing your own life before changing everybody else's. Beauharnois? Ben, it's 25 miles from Montreal. People work in the big polluted industries there. After 5, it's home, watch TV, or take a glass at the tavern. Anyway, Beauharnois is just an industrial city in Quebec like any other. Us, we're from Beauharnois, and we feel that things must change here in Quebec. If you want to change your country, you've got to start with your own milieu. Some have blasted bombs, it woke up some people. Others, they just freak out the system. Is it worthwhile? You've got to go further than that, because to change the milieu, it's to the people to do it. If you want a word, we call it animation culturelle, cultural animation. Here in Beauharnois, the first thing that catches your eye or your lungs is pollution. Some days it's so polluted that you can't even see the sun on Route 3. It's the most polluted city in Quebec and even in America, I think. We wanted to make a video on the problem so that the people themselves decide to solve the situation. But they can't, Asti. They risk losing their job. Everybody works there, even the mayor. You've got to understand them. The city has grown on them. It was too direct for a first intervention. People are well paid. They can buy, consume, take it easy. In the end, we never made the film. But we noticed that there were 35 social clubs in the place, so a need to get together. But no common community spirit. They don't communicate between themselves. It's a very quiet little place. They don't ask much. So we had to find a way to create that community spirit so that people realize that they are a force and move. We had to find a center where people could meet, and we found an old church building that had been closed for 2 years, and we started to organize.
Hey, tu téléphonais comme nous, bonhomme, là?
Ah oui, ma valise. Si tu es dans le char, passe-moi donc le livre de téléphone, je vais appeler étais alors.
Ouais, ben lui, il y a un numéro.
Ouais.
Mais attends une minute, là. Madame Morisseau,
c'est beau d'appeler le monde, mais vous pensez aux objectifs.
For us cultural animators in Quebec, change is what it's all about. Getting people able to make their own decisions. You can tear down all the old structures and replace them by new ones. But these new ones, you've got to live them differently. Because if you don't, why replace it by a new one?
Si une des citoyennes ne fait pas ce qu'elle a à faire.
You work on the values. It's the cultural revolution. You know cultural englobes social, economic, and politic. It's the way of living and seeing these structures that you've got to change.
Tu viens Pharaon. Deux mots, du trois mots.
Non, je veux dire, un moto, c'est un moto, hein?
Bon, mais ça va bien là. Ça achève, hein? Je me demandais bien ce qu'on va faire la prochaine fois. Oh oui,
J'ai hâte de voir ça.
Puis toi, Madeleine, puis Jacques, ouais.
You see, there's plenty of ways, like the workshop,
Bon, ben, on est rendu
pottery and plastic arts, for example.
Ça a changé pas mal. T'en vas là, des fois.
First, it's a place where people can get together and open on their milieu. They take part in a group experience.
Bon, on va peut-être s'installer.
But what does the word community and collectif means today? Nothing. We've got to recognize we are a force, us, Québécois.
Qu'est-ce que t'en penses, toi, là-bas? Ça marche? OK. Bon, ça fait que si vous êtes d'accord, là, on va apprendre à travailler encore plus ensemble. On a appris à se connaître un petit peu ensemble au fur et à mesure des marionnettes puis des grosses têtes. Puis là, ben, ça va être un petit peu mieux en travaillant un petit peu plus ensemble. Puis là,
The workshop is a mini society with the background of the people living in it. It's like a mini Beauharnois. And it has to be practical too, like making big heads that will serve in la fête populaire. Our aim is to try and make the workshop pay for itself without any grants. We've got to compter sur nos propres moyens, rely on ourselves. Maybe our way of working is bizarre and resembles of something déjà vu, but it's in the way you use it that's different, and bien différent it is.
J'ai une surprise. Ça, vous allez avoir un instrument, OK? Pour faire l'improvisation. Ça, c'est l'instrument. On a une trompette, OK? Comment ça s'appelle, un bonhomme qui saute dans une trompette?
Un trompettiste.
Ah bon. Et on peut improviser un trompettiste. Un musicien, OK?
You see, there's also the children. Take the child who arrives. You get out of school with your competitive spirit, the authority of the teacher and all that jazz. In the workshop, you have the possibility to work on your own rhythm, like the collective drawing. At first, everyone wanted his work to be appreciated, the most beautiful. Even you could get your work destroyed by a competitor. And you've got some responsibilities too. After the workshop, they organized the groups that distributed the tracks for the popular feast and l'affaire du sang.
Bon. Fait que là, qui va être la voisine à côté, là?
Enfin, on va faire
Ouais, mais toi, t'es la petite fille de la voisine à côté. Qui fait les autres voisins, là? Bon, OK. On part?
La trompette. Il n'y a pas le droit de jouer de la trompette.
Si, lui joue de la belle musique.
Et c'est de la belle
Jouer
musique.
le
C'est
blues, là,
extraordinaire. Il
bon,
n'est même pas capable de faire un peu.
Ben non, il est capable de sortir
Il est
du
pas
note,
capable.
Il joue pas de la trompette comme il faut?
Non.
The development of creativity based on day-to-day life. You communicate your reality, your way of seeing life, your perception of all that transposed by image, dance, what you live. And more, the child, he has parents. And it's them, the parents, that must take in hand the workshop and care for what the child is doing. And by that, the child is a channel that bridges the gap between the workshop and his family life.
Plie, 1, 2, 3. On le reprend, hein? On le reprend une fois. Le deuxième...
It's not handicraft or courses. These people don't just consume. What we want is that the workshop spirit be a part of their daily life. The development of creativity, all that is good, but it's long-term. There are urgent problems like drugs, unions, urban renewal, a more social side. TV. Everybody watches TV. But to see somebody you know on TV... For me, video is the technique. Take, for example, the worker and the boss. I mean the union boss. We ask them what they think, and after we show it in the factories, taverns, kitchens, where people are. You see, when people watch TV and they see soap operas and hockey games, and then they see themselves, then you can make them talk, and you make them conscious of themselves, and then you get together and act.
C'est pour cette raison-là que moi, je suis bien fort pour le syndicat, mais qui va être pour ça, là, je ne sais pas.
Vous, Mme Gendron, tout à l'heure, vous disiez que votre mari, à la ville de Beauharnois, il veut changer de syndicat, mais est-ce que c'est au juste?
Oui, justement, demain soir, ils ont une rencontre, là, ou plutôt à soir, ils ont une rencontre pour discuter de ça. Je ne sais pas si ça va passer ou ça ne passera pas, mais lui, il n'est pas d'accord. Hein, il veut garder ce qu'ils ont parce qu'ils sont satisfaits.
We work with the people we try to reach. We try to give them not a new mentality, but a sense of responsibility that every Quebecer should have. I mean, everybody should have, whether you're Québécois, Canadian, or American.
Ils ont de la misère à se rencontrer, il n'y a personne qui se rend, ils convoquent des assemblées, il n'y a personne qui se rend.
Et moi, j'aimerais ça avoir l'opinion de son père, par exemple. Il a une belle formation syndicaliste, ce jeune homme-là, pour son âge. C'est fantastique. Moi, je l'admire. Mais j'aimerais ça avoir l'opinion de son père, parce que son père, c'est un président de syndicat.
Mais pensez-vous qu'on va comprendre vraiment? Notre idée, c'était... on parle de... Bon, on est parti de nos défauts, nos problèmes, nous autres. Est-ce que ça va être sans...
What we try to do is to work at all levels with the people so they take in hand their milieu and after that Quebec. And mainly to live it differently, at our own way, the Québécois way, not the US way.
Ça peut représenter?
Moi, mais pas juste d'après le costume, d'après ton visage, d'après toi, qu'est-ce que t'exprimes?
Start with the clergy for one thing. I think the clergy is very powerful in Quebec. Maybe they don't have the participation of the people like they had, but if you go deeper, you'll see that they still have economical power. They have plenty of buildings belonging to them. And these buildings, it's them who decide what to do with them, not the people who really own them.
Justement, ça, si tu veux, c'est peut-être pas deux clans différents. Il y a l'intérêt, si tu veux.
This was the case with the center. I mean the building where the center is now. It belonged to the fabric. In other words, it belonged to the church. The church wanted to sell the building at a profit, but it wasn't really theirs to sell. And that's when we started to get to the people, and we got to their sense of values, like money. For them, a possession. It's important.
Si le gars, il prend vraiment conscience, la bonne femme qui vient d'atelier de poterie, que, je veux dire, sa petite affaire, son petit tour, là, il y a quelque chose de plus important. Je sais pas qui arrive.
So here was this building that they already paid.